Today is a continuation of the Business Success Masterclass series that I've been running, which is supported by the Productivity Program, the University of Lincoln, and of course, which is partly funded by the European Regional Development Fund. And this is number 7 on the set that we've been working through the business hierarchy of needs. And today we continue in that section of impact, and we look at mission motivation. Okay. And of course, it would be remiss of me to remind you all that there are lots of different things available. And I think as we go into changeable times, it's even more important that we look to sources like the Productivity Program, like our local enterprise partnerships, our local authorities, and just keep an eye on things and ask what help is out there, what is available to us, what can we have. And there is lots and lots of things changing in all of these sectors. And of course, grant funding, there is expert advice, graduates are still looking for places. Believe it or not, there are still angels out there looking to invest. I've got a couple of businesses which are going through investment at the moment, and even an acquisition of one business at the moment because they're doing exceptionally well. Welcome, Peter. Welcome, Hazel, as you're just coming in there. And of course, there is some startup funding as well to help graduates start their own businesses. So if you've got friends, family, colleagues, people that you know in other walks of life that are looking to perhaps start their business as a graduate, and I don't know what the timescale is, but there's certainly lots on offer out there. For those of you who have just joined, please remember to ask any questions. If there's a hot topic that you want me to talk about, please put it in the questions and answers box as we go along. And it doesn't have to be on today's topic. It can also be on anything that is current and relevant at the moment. And if you want to talk about things in more detail, I'm happy to give 10-15 minutes at the end. If I can't answer it today, then I'll certainly go away, look to people that I get advice from, and come back to you with any questions and answers and hot topics that you might want to work through. Really important to take lots of notes. You'll know from my slides, those of you being on before, that they're very image based, so there's not a lot of text. So if you do get a copy of a slide, you'll need your notes to refer back to them. Make sure you've got a tea or coffee or something to hydrate you as we go through, because we're going to be on here for about another 55 minutes for the main content of this, and then we'll go into Q&As either slightly before that or at the end. So take plenty of notes. It's really important, and we'll go to this at the end, that you do something with what you've learned today for what you've listened to. So by taking notes, circling things around, it doesn't matter how neat they are, whatever scribble they are, as mine often are, but make sure that you've got something you can refer back to that will create some kind of action, some kind of activity, something that will move you forward in your business and in yourselves at the moment. So today's headline topic is mission motivation, and I just want to clarify what that is. And it's where we ensure that all employees, managers, leaders, so I know we've got lots of different people on here, some of the people on here might be leaders, they might be managers, they might be employees, but everyone within the business, and I would also challenge this definition that it's also people outside the business, but we'll talk about more about that later. But they're motivated more by delivering the business mission rather than their roles. Okay, I just want that definition to sink in a bit. They're motivated more by delivering on the business mission. They're more passionate about the success of the business mission and where the business is going, how it's going to help people, what kind of impact the mission is going to have, than actually their roles themselves. Okay, and we're going to expand on what that means and how you can make sure that there's a culture where people come to work, not just because of their roles, but rather than their roles, they come because they believe in the business mission. Now, some of you might say, well, that's okay if you've got a great cause and you're a non-profit or a charity. But one of the books that's behind me here on the rack is a great book called Work Rules by Laszlo Bock, I think his name is, or Block. And it's a story of the start of Google. And people joined Google in the early stages, not because they were offering big salaries and had games rooms and things like that, but people joined Google because they believed in the mission of making all the information in the world accessible to everyone in the world. Okay, and that's what they believed, that mission. They bought into that mission and they joined Google to deliver that mission along with Google. So that's what I mean by mission motivation. You know, people come to work wanting to deliver that mission. And of course, that is part of the business hierarchy of needs, and that level of impact. And as we were having, I was having a quick conversation with Frank just before we started here, and he was telling me about the way that his business restructured in 2019. And we were talking about how the way that change certainly is a big impact in the success of businesses and the use of digital and other things like that. But what we're looking at here is the creation of transformation, where what our business does has a transforming effect on those that work for us, with us, and alongside us. So we want to have an impact, not just on bottom line, not just on revenue, but we want to have an impact and a transformation of everybody that we deal with in our business. So I just want to remind us that that's the level that we're at the moment. And next week's webinar, which is the last one, takes us into that last part of impact. This series at the moment isn't going to go in towards legacy, the creation of permanence. One, I thought that might be a little bit inappropriate at the moment, but also it's something that I'm going to be putting towards the University of Lincoln in the hope that they might do it perhaps at the end of this year, but more importantly, perhaps in January, February next year. That would be great. So last time, I just want to remind us that we covered transformation orientation, and I challenged the normal thing that we should give to receive. And, you know, we very much looked at impact in the fact that, you know, we've got to look at the way that we help people transform. And we've got to make a way that we look at that. So if you're interested in transformation in more detail and you want to know more about how we find a pathway, find a direction, find a journey in transformation, then certainly have a look at that. And there were lots of things that we talked about in this business hierarchy of needs. First we have to receive, we have to have that stability, we have to have that cash, we have to have that order and efficiency before we can give. So it is very much about receiving things into our business, getting our business on a good solid foundation to then make us the best people at giving out that can have an impact, that can have a legacy moving forward. So next time, I want to give you a bit of an insight. Next time, we're going to look at feedback, okay, and how we can empower people, clients, and wider community to give both critical and complementary feedback on your business, okay? And, you know, if we're going to have an impact and we're going to have transformation, then we need to know that that is actually working for us and working for other people as well. So we're going to look at the integrity of our feedback as well. So let me start with a couple of questions, and I'm going to ask you to use the questions and answers box for this. And I'm just going to move the images around now a little bit. There we go. So in the questions and answers box, the first question I'm going to ask that I want you to answer in that box is, does your business have a company mission? So just let me know in the Q&A box, yes or no. Does your business have a company mission? Now, there's an image there at the side of what a mission is. and we'll come back to the clarity around that. But just a word in there that's on screen: an important assignment or a specific goal or task that's given to people that clearly indicates the actions and core purpose and the focus of where the business is going. Okay, so we've got 4 yes, 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 and yes. Perfect. So Hazel, Frank, David, and William all say yes. So thank you for that. The next question then, particularly for those people who have said yes, obviously, does everyone in your business know your company mission? Not know that you have one, but do they know your company mission? Now, I've had a client, a one-to-one client who's just gone through Investors and People. I went through Investors and People back in the early 2000s. And one of the things they do as part of Investors and People is that they interview all of your staff or a sample of your staff, depending on how big your business is, and they ask people to recite your company mission. So they might say, oh, yeah, we know there's a mission statement. It's up on the reception wall somewhere, or it's in the office. But do they know your company mission? Can they recite your company mission pretty accurately? Okay. So in the same questions and answers box, I'm just going to clear those people that said yes to the others. Oh, Jill says yes, so I'm having technical difficulties. That's okay. Yeah. And this is one of the things that, yeah, Hazel, yeah, you're absolutely right. Very often, and people are saying no, David's saying yes, so that's great. Peter, yes, so that's good. But very often people probably can't recite it, or they might get it wrong, or they might be confused about it. So that they're the first 2 questions. So I'm glad that you have it, because if you hadn't, then we'd be going back to the drawing board, and that would change my presentation quite significantly, because believe it or not, these images are done so that I can change the presentation. Most of you have a company mission, and those of you who are watching the recording, obviously you can let me know as well. Okay, I am Joe Barnes. Okay, perfect. Thanks for letting me know that, Joe. So it's really important that we know that we've got a company mission statement. We suspect that people probably know that we've got one. Some people might be able to recite it, and that's a good starting place. So we're in the right place for where we need to be with this. So that's great. So what we're going to cover today. So thanks for sharing that, and that helps me define what we're going to talk about. So we're going to look at the clarity of your mission. We're going to challenge the mission that you currently have and look at the key aspects of a mission. We're then going to talk about the role that leaders and champions play in the delivery and the, I suppose, the embedding of the mission. And then very much we're going to look at that description of what the mission motivation is, where it's not about their own roles, but it's for the team and not themselves. Okay, and then of course we'll answer any questions. And for those that have just joined us, if there are any questions on any other topics, anything around the current climate, current changes out there, any clarifications you need on what you can do, what you can't do, what you can claim for, then we'll talk about those at the end. So first thing, where do we start? What's your mission? Okay, so I want you to right now, and you can cheat if you want to. If it's in front of you, you can write down. But I want you to actually write down your mission, what your company's mission, what your mission is for the business. I want you to write it down right now, okay? Because I want you to have it front of mind as we go through the next few slides. So what is your mission? I'm going to give you a few seconds just to write that down. You might not be able to, if you haven't got it in front of you, get all of it down, but you might be able to get some of it down. So what's your mission? If you want to type it in the Q&A box, happy for you to share it as well. That'd be great. What's your mission? So most of you have said yes, you've got one. So what is it? How clear are you on your mission? And the key thing that I just want to sort of explain with the clarity of the mission, the clarity of your mission, to me, should be something that is internal and external. We're talking about having an impact. We're talking about having a transformation in the last session, not just on our employees, but on our business, on our clients, on our supply chain. So you can see there, you can see my logo there. My mission, and I call it a mission, is to help businesses more than any other coach. Now, that's a bit of a strap line, and there's more detail to that. But your mission should be something that you can easily communicate to your team and to your outside world. Okay, so you now know my mission. My mission is clearly to help businesses more than any other coach, and that's why I'm doing these webinars. This is why I'm doing Q&A sessions. This is why I'm answering questions on social media, etc. Now, there's an image there in the middle, which is the Baton Rouge Zoo. And the reason I put that image up there, it reminded me of the way that somebody explained to me the ingredients of a mission and the clarity of a mission. So if I said to all of you, can you get to Baton Rouge in 24 hours to the zoo? What that would do, that then would be your mission. So the mission is to get to the Baton Rouge Zoo. Okay. But does that mission in itself have enough clarity to inspire people? What's the reason for going to the zoo? Are we there to save the animals? Are we there to make sure that the zoo stays open in these difficult times? Do we even know that there's a zoo at Baton Rouge? Well, that actually is a real photo, so yes, there is. But very often when we look at clarity, we say things that mean something to us. Now, I don't have any affinity to Baton Rouge Zoo. So that mission in itself, getting the business to a destination, isn't enough of a clarity of what the mission's about. So you need to create an emotional connection. And I see a lot of missions, and I would ask you to look at your own mission. Does it stimulate that emotion? Does it get people to want to give up their free time, to pay to travel? When people create good causes and things like that, and it's not just about having good causes, but when they do, people give up things, people sacrifice things. And that's what we want our company mission to do. We want people to sacrifice things, potentially, some things quite large, maybe some things quite small, in order to deliver your company's mission. So is the destination, is the mission, is that place where you want to take the business to, is it a nice picture like the zoo, or is it something which has enough clarity that people feel absolutely that they want to give things up to deliver on that mission? And of course, over there on the far right, our values, our strategy, our goals, our statement of how we do things, they're all part of the vision of what we want for the business. And the mission isn't a replacement for the vision. Okay. The vision is something that inspires. The mission is the journey on which we're going to go. So when we look at the Baton Rouge Zoo in the middle there, the vision is the picture that we want to create, but the mission is the journey we want to go on. And that's why it's about transformation. When we look at a story, and I used this with a client the other day in one of my group sessions, the story of Shrek. I don't know how many of you have seen Shrek, but when you look at the story of Shrek, if I said to you, look, I've got a great story, it's about an ogre, he meets the princess turns out to be an ogre, the donkey meets a dragon. They have lots of little baby hybrid dragon donkeys, and everybody lives happily ever after. Yeah, I can share the vision with you, because that's the vision. The happy ending, that everything I've just given you there. But the mission is about the journey. Okay, the mission is about taking people through a transformation where they have to overcome things. We watch Shrek because we watch him battle with his own views of himself. We watch him get motivated by the guide. Donkey, believe it or not, is the Obi-Wan Kenobi to Luke Skywalker. The hero is Shrek, but the donkey isn't a hero. The donkey is the guide. So Shrek and everybody in the story have to overcome things. They have to go on a journey, and the mission is the journey. So when I say go to the zoo and we're going to save the animals, that's the vision. But the clarity of the mission is the journey we're going to go on. So, Joe, you've put here to provide meaningful and bespoke support to vulnerable people, ensuring that they can enjoy the best lives possible. So there's a bit of transformation in there. Okay. But again, we have to be careful that there's enough clarity of the journey that we're taking people on. Okay. And I think in there is that last part of the sentence, ensuring that they can enjoy the best lives possible. So what we're implying there is that at the moment, their lives aren't that good. Okay. And obviously the careful is what that's about. Frank, to make the best natural soft drinks by their taste and to inspire people to respect nature. Now, there's a thing. If you do read the Fix This Next book, there's a great story in there about somebody who makes a product and then turns it into an environmentally friendly product. So to inspire people to respect nature. For what cause? Okay, and by what journey? So as you're looking at the mission, the vision can be quite short, but the mission has to have the clarity of what's involved in the journey. Okay, so think about the journey. Think about how you're going to get there. Now, the flip side of that is what we don't want to do is make the vision too complicated. I've seen people write out full A4 company missions. The mission needs to have enough detail in there of where you're heading. It needs to have enough information there of what the key milestones are or the key points of the journey are and how the transformation is going to take place. And it has to have emotional connection, but it shouldn't be so busy and so full that people lose the plot. Okay. And if you think about the story of Shrek, very simply in the film, even at the beginning of the film, you can see the journey of the story. You can see what's going to happen. You get a bit of a twist because you think Shrek is going to be the one that turns into the handsome prince, and instead it's Fiona who turns into the ogre. But I think it's an ogre. I think that's what he's called. But what you see is you get the sense of the journey. Okay. So we want to do that, but what we don't want to do is add complexity to it. So when you're looking at your mission, think about the journey, think about the transformation that's going to take place, think about the inspiration side of it. What are people going to feel motivated to give up to follow this? Because if people won't give up their time, they won't see it as more important than their role, than their duties, then we need a stronger mission for it to be there. So we need to make sure that we get that lack of complexity in there, but with enough detail to inspire people. And it's a difficult balance, there's no doubt about it. But hopefully, just talking about that journey and talking about a few things, the mission isn't a vision. Okay, that's the one thing I want to say. Very often people confuse the vision for the business with the mission. Yeah, the mission is the way we get there. So my mission is to help businesses. That is not the destination. That's a journey that I'm on. Okay, and we need to realize that. So key aspects of any mission, moving on from that, it needs to inspire movement and action. If the mission just inspires the fact that we have arrived, then that's not enough. The mission is a journey, therefore it has movement, therefore it has activity. If you go back to this definition up here, it clearly indicates the actions and purpose. So it has the purpose, which both Joe and Frank put in there, but it also has action in there. Okay, it's an assignment. Okay, I really like that word in there. It's an important assignment. Okay, it's something that we're going to do movement and action towards. Okay, this is an interesting one. It's a tune that everyone can sing or hum along to. I just want you to think about that for a second, because sometimes you hear that song and you hear it on radio perhaps, or somebody's playing it in the background, and then you just can't get it out of your mind. Okay, and it's one that is so easy to pick up. The mission should be something that is easy to pick up, where it can continually keep playing in your mind. We don't want it to be one of those annoying ones. We want it something that's easy. And some of the best songs that are out there are songs that are easy to pick up the tune, but they're also things that mean something to us. That's why we sing along or we hum along to them. I don't sing. I'm tone deaf, technically, I suppose. I'm not tone deaf, but everybody says that I am when I start singing. So I'll hum along quite nicely. The other thing is, with a mission, it's got to be personal. And what I mean by that, not personal to you, it's got to feel personal to everybody in the business. Okay. My mission is to help businesses more than any other coach, not just my clients. I don't say my mission is to help clients be better and more successful than any other coach. It's businesses. So I don't care if it's a total stranger. So it's got to be personal. It's got to decide who it's talking to. Okay. So does your mission have movement, action? Is it a tune that everyone can easily pick up the words to and sing or hum along to? Is it personal? Does it mean something to the people reading it? Does it mean something to the people who are going to receive it? Does it mean something? And transformational wise, does it mean something to the people who are on that assignment, that are on that journey? Okay. The other aspect of any mission is that people take part because they believe in it. Okay. If it's a mission that doesn't float somebody's boat and they don't believe it'll ever happen, then you won't get the motivation into it. You won't get the buy-in into it. So it's got to be something that is believable. It's got to be something that people feel whilst it's stretching, because bear in mind, the mission isn't the vision. The mission is something that they believe is achievable. So if I said to you, climb Everest, the summit for many people is paralyzing because they never believe they'll get to the summit. But if I say to you, we're going to climb Everest and we're going to do it one base camp at a time, then suddenly by breaking it down, by showing them the journey that we're going to take, then that has a better way of communicating the mission. Okay. And of course, the mission has got to be something that gets us closer in achieving our ultimate vision and purpose. And they have to believe it's going to enable us to do that. We have to believe that Shrek is going to marry Fiona. Okay. If we don't believe in that, then we're not going to give the sacrifices. We're not going to go on the journey at all. And if we don't believe it ourselves as leaders, we're not going to do that. So real important key aspects that you have on a mission there. So I want you just to take a moment, and this will give me a chance to get a quick sip of honey and lemon as well, keep my voice going. Are there any aspects, any things of clarity that you need to add to your mission that your company has, or that it needs to improve? What do you need to add to it? Are there any clarities, or are there any aspects that we've just gone through there that are missing from your mission? This is where I'm going to trust that you're taking some notes. Just take 10 10 seconds just to jot some things down that perhaps you could add to your mission to make it more effective, more believable, more action-based. Is it something that's easily repeatable? You know, not only can people know it themselves, can they recite it to other people? You know, have you got a member of your staff who could tell your next best client what your mission is and do it well? That tune that everyone can sing or hum along to. Okay, so if you're watching the recording or you're going back to the recording, please stop, pause it now, make sure you've done some work on this. Make sure that you look at your mission that you wrote down at the beginning or that you thought of at the beginning, and put some key aspects of that in there. Yeah, Joe's put here, yes, our mission needs to be simplified, lose the word meaningful and bespoke and replace it with one word. Yeah, it has to be easy to pass on. And what does that mean? We're very good at using cryptic words. We've talked about this in previous masterclasses earlier on sales and profit, when we're looking at our message and we're looking at our mission and our purpose. Our purpose and our why. That very often we try to use clever words, but if a word has lots of different meanings, we need to make sure that either that meaning is clear or that we use a word that actually is what it says on the tin, basically. So I'm going to go on to then the difference between a leader and a champion. Okay. And this goes back to another book that's behind me there. If none of you have read it, it's a great book by Vern Harnish called Scaling Up. It's this one here. I think you can see it. I can't see myself on the screen there, but Vern Harnish, Scaling Up. And I think we've probably mentioned this before, but a leader is somebody who creates the mission so that everybody else can make the changes happen to make that mission work. So a leader is somebody who creates something that is the same, that everybody can get behind and stays the same. Okay. Managers, I'll come to champions in a minute. The managers and the people in the business are the ones then that go out and make the changes in the business to make that happen, to make the same thing that the leader said actually happen. Okay, so if a leader says we're going to, use a bad example, go to Grimsby, all of you have got to do whatever you need to do to get me. I don't know if there's a zoo in Grimsby, but everybody needs to help me on that journey to get to Grimsby, help the business get to Grimsby. So as the leader, it's my role to get the clarity of where we're going. That there's a journey we've got to go on, but it's all of you guys, the managers, the leaders, the people in the business, to make sure that we do what's needed. We make all the changes to make sure that we get there. Okay. And as a leader, I'm going to be the one that's saying, just a minute, aren't we going left? Let's get back on track. So I'm the one that makes sure you get pulled back on track. There is a difference then between a champion. So a champion, okay, needs to do two things. And if we really want our mission to work, we need champions. Okay, so this is a really important thing that we need in our business. The champion is somebody who, of course, champions the mission. Okay, they believe in the purpose, they believe in the destination, and they believe in the mission that's going to get there. And they need to be the one that rallies round. They need to be the ones that say they believe it. They need to be the ones that don't just say they believe it, but the other part of being a champion is somebody who's saying it is working for them. The people who are experiencing transformation need to be your champions. They need to be telling everybody else. The champions need to be enthusiastic. You don't want champions that say, yeah, mission sounds great. It's made a real difference in my life. You know, you need people who look you straight in the eye and say, wow, this is great. So when you've got a company mission, you need to identify people, not necessarily the leaders. And I would say probably not the leaders. You need people who are on the journey to be the champion. You need people who are going to rally the troops. You need people with enthusiasm. You need people where they just create an energy in that momentum. So think about the champions in your business. You know, it might be, if it's a small business, that you are the leader and the champion. But who else could be a champion in your business? Might even be a client, might even be a supplier. Is somebody else from outside going to say what a great business this is, and you're so privileged to be in a business which is on this journey, on this mission, on this assignment? Okay, so who is your champion? So a champion has to be somebody who initially believes in it, is enthusiastic about it, but a champion is somebody who continually on the journey needs to say, look, I'm doing it, it's working for me, you all need to come along. Okay. And generally when I pick a champion in the business that I've had in the past, you know, I want people who are enthusiastic, but I want people who are willing to say it's working for me. I need people that are willing to say, I've overcome something. So they need to share their story. They need to be able to share how it was for them before and how it is now. If they just do the whole rah-rah thing, nobody believes it. People only believe it when they see the difference in somebody, when they see somebody who was one way before and is now transformed into another way after. That's what a champion needs to be prepared to stand up and show. And that's being quite vulnerable. So you need to make sure you choose your champions quite well. Okay, I'm just going to clear a couple of these questions here. So who are your champions? Think about that. Jot some notes down right now. Now, the definition of mission motivation is inspiring people and getting your team to be more about delivering the mission than their roles. Now, this is quite a seismic shift. Okay, and that's why you can understand that we don't do this in the early stages. If you're still trying to generate sales and profit, you're trying to create cash and stability, and you're trying to get control of your business in order, it's difficult to make this seismic shift when people are still fighting fires. And I know that's very easy to say in these changing times, because most of us are fighting fires every day as the world changes around us. But what we've got to do is we've got to do something that is more than the money. It's more than what they can earn from their job. It's more than the responsibility that they get by having their role. They've got to be willing to go above and beyond for other people in their team. You can see the guy there with his arms out, bridging the canyon. These are people who will lay down some of their role and responsibility for the benefit of other people. Okay, and we're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. But it's got to be more than their roles. And it's got to be something that pulls at the heartstrings. It's got to be something that gets their adrenaline pumping. It's got to be something that creates emotion in people in your business. Okay, it's not just a piece of paper on a wall. It's something that this mission, this journey that you're on, everybody wants to be part of. And you've got to create that seismic shift. Now, of course, there will always be times when people, particularly at the moment, when they are focused on money, but it's getting that balance. So don't think it's got to be a seismic shift one way and not the other. People aren't going to come to work and never get paid. Okay, you might get volunteers that do that sometimes, but it's a balance. It's a fine balance, particularly at the moment. But what we do have to realize is that we are asking people to make quite a shift in believing in and following our mission. And that's really important. Yeah, Joe's put here, our champions are some staff and many customers, but equally some of our external stakeholders. Yeah, there are so many people who can be champions. And even you know, this seismic shift can be your clients. You know, when I did when I had the construction business, you know, we had many of our clients, national house builders, who believed in our mission, the journey that we were on, because it was a win-win for them as well. But they got behind us. You know, they gave up their time, they gave up their resources to help us achieve our mission. You know, we had clients working till late at night to help us deliver on our mission. We got clients giving us resources for some of our missions as well. So, you know, the champions can be outside the business, but also the people that can make the shift and make the sacrifice can also be people outside the business. So thank you for sharing that, Joe. So we want to look at our connections. And what I mean by connections is, you know, what else do we need to make sure our mission has so that it motivates people? So some people will be motivated by a mission because it either turns them into the hero or it turns the business into the hero. So they want to look better. They want the business to look better. Okay. It might be that they, as you've seen that image on the last one, if you were with us last time or watched the recording, that it's, you know, the charity that I'm very passionate about is Sense, which supports young children that are both deaf and blind or partially sighted. And it's that, to me, is an emotional connection. People, you know, buy into it because they see the cause. Frank, you mentioned, you know, respect for nature in soft drinks. Okay, so people can buy into a cause that's bigger than the business, bigger than themselves. It can be nature, saving the planet, all that kind of thing. Okay, but also some people will undertake your mission because of the challenge. Some people like a challenge. Some people like to feel that they've got something that's going to stretch them. I'm one of those people. I love a good cause, but a good cause isn't enough. I need to have a challenge. I need to have something that drives me personally forward, that stretches me, makes me better. So think about your connections. And because you want everybody on board, you want everybody in your business on board with this, you want to make sure that everybody's included. You want everybody to feel that they have a part to play. Now, not everybody will have the same part to play, and that's what this slide is about. Yeah, not everybody will have the same size cog. Not everybody will have the same leverage on the mission, but everybody that is involved in your mission needs to feel that they have a part to play. If it feels elitist or it feels exclusive, then people won't buy into it. You know, we want people to feel that everybody has their role. You know, like on the ship. You know, we're not all the captain of the ship. We're not all the person who steers the boat. We might be the lookout. We might be the person who's pulling up the rig and getting the sails up. And I'm sorry if I'm not a sailor, so if I've used any terms there that are wrong, I apologize to any sailors that are watching this. But we need to make sure that everybody's on board. We need to get their buy-in. And what we don't want is the buy-in by people in front of you, and then they don't buy into it outside in the corridor. Okay. So we need to think about what your connections are, what your mission connects people with. We need to think about making sure that every person in the business believes that they have a role to play in delivering it, which then comes on to the final sort of couple of slides of what motivates your team. Do you know what motivates your team? Is it winning an award? You know, I have a Recognizing Business Success Platinum Award, which I give to clients for their achievements. And usually it's their achievements that help me achieve my mission. You know, what motivates your team? Is it being part of the team? Is it about being inclusive? Is it feeling that they or the business are a rock star? Okay. Or is it just the happiness donkey effect there that I've got? You know, thinking about Shrek, I'm sorry I couldn't get an image of Shrek that I could use that was royalty free, so I had to put the donkey in there. You know, is it about people wanting that happiness? Is it people that want that feeling of joy, that, that warm, fuzzy feeling that they have inside. So do you know what motivates your team? So I want you just to take, again, another 10, 15 seconds to write down some words that reflect what motivates your team. I'm just going to clear some of the questions here. Jill said, I've gained some clients through friends who witnessed the very positive changes in me after going through my own training to do what I'm doing. That helps support my own attitude behavior. Absolutely. Yeah. So you've gained some clients through friends who witness. So if people see that, and I suppose, Jill, they don't just become a champion, they become an advocate. And if they become an advocate and a raving fan, then that becomes contagious and you'll get clients through that. So definitely, thank you for sharing that. Feeling that they're part of something positive, especially during these difficult times. Absolutely. And I think anybody who, I take my hat off to all those key workers are out there, no matter whether it's somebody in NHS, particularly in care. My mum passed away in June after being in a care home for about 9 months, and she had carers for 6 years before that at home. So I take my hat off to all those people, whether it's delivering Royal Mail, whether it's somebody repairing ambulances, whatever it is. If people feel that they're part of something during difficult times, then that certainly gives them a good drive towards. And I can certainly say that a lot of people in NHS have gone above and beyond in what they've given up and the way they've performed their roles because of the mission. Okay, and the mission wasn't a better NHS. The mission was to save lives and obviously get people out of hospital that were ill with COVID. So what motivates your team? Thank you for sharing those, both of you there. So what motivates your team? You need to make sure you think about it. If you're watching the recording, stop, really think about the people, think about the individuals in your business. What motivates them? Does what you say motivate just a few, or does it help get everyone on board? That's the question to ask, because very often with mission statements, I see them that motivates a small amount of people, but it doesn't get everybody on board, and it has to get everybody on board. Okay. Otherwise, your retention rate, your retention of staff and of people won't last very long. Similar with your clients. So I just want to help you think about this. Tony Robbins, somebody I've got a lot of respect for as somebody who has a massive impact in the world. And if you've never watched any of Tony Robbins' webinars, seminars, courses, DVDs, etc., then I certainly recommend that you do, if you can put up with the Americanism of it a little bit. But he changed my life quite a few years ago, and he did so by talking through the 6 core human needs. And what we all have is an element of these, but some people have a higher need for it. Okay. And for me, when I went to see Tony Robbins down at the Excel Center some years ago, I thought for me, my biggest need was significance. I wanted to leave a legacy. I've got no children, so I can't pass on a legacy through children. So I wanted significance. Okay. Second was growth, and probably uncertainty and variety was next on my list. But by going through these 6 core human needs, what I realized was that my biggest core human need is contribution. That's why my mission is to help businesses more than any other coach. I want to contribute to people more than anybody else out there. Okay, and hopefully you can sense the passion of that. So these are the 6 core human needs. So you need to think about which of these does your mission check off. Does it check off the contribution, the fact of giving out to people unconditionally? Is it significance? Some people like that hero complex. Certainty. Does it give people certainty? And interesting that certainty is also then balanced with uncertainty or variety. Whilst we like certainty, particularly at these moments in time, we also need variance. We need to know, we don't like boredom. Okay. Growth. Are we growing? And it might not be growth in revenue or profit, but are we growing as individuals? Are we overcoming things? Think about that transformation. It's about growth. Am I becoming more? It was mentioned just a second ago in there by Jill about people have seen what she's had changing her life because of what she's done. So that's really important. And of course, love and connection. People like to be connected. I put connection in there because, getting people to go around hugging people and saying they're loving people is not the thing to do at the moment. And some people might feel a bit uncomfortable in general times with that. I have my 1 meter zone around me all the time. But, people do need to feel connected. I love being part of a community. Okay. So does your mission check off these 6 core human needs? Doesn't have to be all of them, but it should be some of them. Because if it doesn't, then you will struggle to get everybody motivated and get everybody on board. Now, of course, just as we do with everything else, we can look at our mission statement, we can look at what it is, and we can make sure that we set an objective to update, create, roll out. We can measure the success, we can do the evaluation, and we can make sure that everybody's involved in the update to the mission. So we can work the omen to make sure that we have that result of creating a powerful mission that everybody in the business is motivated behind, so much so that they believe in it so much that they will forgo some of their role to deliver the mission. Okay, that's what we're looking for. That's the objective. Okay. Remember, just a few things. Got 5 minutes left, so I want to make sure we get a chance to answer any questions or take anybody's ideas on this. Keep the mission simple. Make the mission visible. Don't make it just in one place. Make sure everybody knows it, everybody sees it. Okay. The mission should be big. If I said to you that Shrek wanted to marry Fiona, and I gave you the ending, and I said, and all he's got to do is walk 2 miles and knock on the door and get in. Yeah, not much of a film that you're going to watch. The mission has got to feel big. It's got to feel stretching, because it's got to perhaps challenge people. It's got to feel that it's a journey that people are going on. Okay, and the mission has got to be emotionally charged and get buy-in from everyone. If people don't buy into your mission, the likelihood is that they're going to disrupt it. They're going to be destructive to your business, and they're not going to be people that should or will stay very long. So when you recruit, if you get this mission, when you recruit people who believe in your mission. That's what Google did in that book, Work Rules by Laszlo. Google recruited people who believed in the mission. You should recruit people into your business that don't just have the skills, don't just have the aptitude, but believe in the mission for the business. So a few things there to remember. As always, 3-step action plan. I want you to look through your notes now. If you're watching the recording, pause the recording now, go through your notes. What 3 things are you going to do from what you've learned today, or what you've learned through watching this recording? What 3 things can you do that are going to have an impact? What 3 things can you do that you can do quickly, perhaps, that you can do in the next 3 days, within the next week? Okay, so write those down. Please put them in a Q&A box. If there's something that you've had that light bulb moment and you think, I need to simplify this, I need to roll this out and make sure everybody's buying into it, I need to create some emotional connection, whatever it is, write down in the Q&A box or on your own note paper or on an iPad, tablet, whatever it is, what the 3 steps that you can take are. And most importantly, what's going to be your next step? Yeah, Joe's put here, simplify the mission. Yeah, make it so that you can sing it, Joe, and hum along to it. Yeah, communicate it to all. Thank you. It's important that you do some action. Just like your mission needs to stimulate action, it's important that from today you do something with what you've learned today. And hopefully you'll take that next step. So we've come to the end there. I hope that's inspired you to think differently about your mission and how you can motivate people behind your mission. It's not just about creating it for creating its sake. It's about getting people motivated, getting people behind it, and getting everybody on board with it. And it needs some critical things in there, as I hope you can see. Thank you very much for sticking with me for the hour. We know what we're going to be talking about next time. It's feedback integrity. Any questions? I'm open to take any questions. You can either put them in the Q&A box, or you can just take yourself off of mute and ask any questions. It doesn't have to be on mission. It doesn't have to be on the topic. It can be on any other topic that you've got here. Hazel said there, make sure we live the mission, so it's not just words. Absolutely. That's the thing with Jill. People saw the change. People saw the difference. People see the journey, and that's why they come along for it. When people see the action and the activity, that's when people buy into it. That's what motivates people to join the mission. So yeah, absolutely right, Hazel. Well done for recognizing that. This is where I get that tumbleweed moment of nobody got any questions. We've hit bang on the hour now, so I'm happy to stay on, answer any more questions. If they're confidential questions that you want to ask, just drop me a message either in the chat box or in the Q&A box, and I'll happily have a chat with you offline. That's not a problem. Is mine too short? Okay, Peter, if you can just take yourself off of mute there, and just, I know you're asking this in the chat box. I don't know if other people have to see it. So you use this as a mission statement. We found a lot of drivers. All right, just like that. Okay, so Peter, if you can take this off mute, just tell me just give us an idea of what the mission is, and just tell me why you think it might be too short.
When I got into this, I found that there was a lot of negativity from some drivers saying, I don't have time to get there. My driver's hours are not going to enable me to do the journey and get delivered on time.
Yeah.
And then other firms we were dealing with were saying to drivers, you have time, get there, do it. And there was this, I wouldn't say banter, but there was this conflict between the firms we were working for and the drivers. And it's all about the working time directive and driver's hours.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take the conflict away and have drivers that actually would have a can-do attitude. And when they were asked, they just go, yes, just like that, we can do it. And we've found that with the client we have, we're one of their preferred subbies, because my drivers will make the effort. They will look at the journey and say, for example, we have one that they've asked us to fit in another job today to go to Northampton. It's a 225-mile round trip. Yeah. And the drivers who were asked said, yeah, if we get back to the yard and they've do a drop and swap, i.e. the trailer's preloaded, we can get it done. It's working with the client, and it's just, we say it's just like that. We will do our best. So
is it too short? The simple answer to that, and I'm going to give my opinion here, my advice, but I would say yes, it is.
Yeah.
And the reason it's too short is just like that is a great strapline. So it's a great reflection of the brand, and it's a great reflection of the vision that you want for the business. But the mission is how you do that. So it is about having drivers with a can-do attitude, isn't it? It is about perhaps by using latest technology, by being aware of legislation and compliance. So it's the journey that you're going on. What the Just Like That does, that's the vision, that's the end game. But how do you do it? Is it by training people? Is it by encouraging people? Is it by what kind of journey do you, the business, and the drivers, and I'm sorry I'm using the word journey for somebody who actually has a driving business, but what kind of transformation needs to happen? So as you said, Peter, at the beginning, that you want everybody in the business to think like that, to have that just have. So you recruit people like that. You recruit people that have that attitude. So you want people to maintain that attitude, but you want to recruit people with that attitude. So that's where the mission comes in of more, okay, we to deliver our Just Like That vision for the business, we are going to endeavor to recruit. We're going to make sure that we train and maintain our drivers to have that attitude. Yeah. And that's the mission. That's how we're going to do it. So the mission is the assignment. So what we're going to do. So we're going to have an open, transparent thing where if somebody's not got the right attitude, everybody around them is going to support them and help them and get them to change that attitude.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
That's that kind of thing. That's what people think. Yeah, I can do that. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Does that help?
No, that's good. That's give me something to work on.
Good. Okay. Yeah, thanks, put here. Thanks for the session. Off to explore and find more champions within the business to communicate the mission. Yeah, I think, Frank, you've got a great mission there, particularly with the respect for nature. I think there's a few critical things in there, but certainly getting champions for that would be absolutely great. Okay, any more questions? Oh, question answer box is little. Found it really interesting. Thank you. Thanks for session. Yep, no problem at all. That's good. Thank you. So lots of thank you. So we'll wrap it up there. Don't forget the productivity program is here to help you. Likewise, if any of you are connected with me on LinkedIn and you've got any burning questions about anything to do with the changes at the moment that are out there and how you can best handle them, if you ever want to bounce anything around, more than happy to have a chat at any time. And I look forward to seeing as many of you as we can on the next one, which is feedback integrity, which finishes off that level of impact and transformation. So it's been great. Thank you very much for your contributions. I really look forward to seeing you all out there living your missions, getting them embedded and getting everybody on board and motivating not just yourselves, but everybody in the business to deliver on those missions. And bye for now.